What's up, everybody? Fallout Season 2 is over. It's time to wait again, and I've got mixed feelings about this finale. Let's dive in. Things started out good for the most part as Kevin McAllister was back on his rascal. The Legion Civil War was waged off screen. It would have been nice to see some of that, but whatever. And the Kaiser, the Caesar, fell on the battlefield. Kevin takes the crown and is ready to lead his army to New Vegas. This scene was cool. It just really feels like, some scenes got cut from this side of the story in this season, so they shoved them all into this finale instead of waiting till season 3. Regardless, I said last week that I couldn't wait to see AI Robert House and Ghoul together, and it was anything but disappointing. House is dropping info left and right, confirming that the Vegas Vault is the Enclaves and that Hank is a part of that group, a long-time theory, but it all comes down to what I've been saying all season, what I've been praising all season, that electric duo of Walton Goggins and Justin Theroux. Another wish I had from the penultimate episode that got fulfilled here in the finale was getting more of that Deathclaw fight, and they absolutely nailed the action comedy potion with this scene and Thaddeus' evacuation. That hilarious bartender, he returns and he stands up with Max by the end of things. Just good stuff all around, especially with Thaddeus, though. I could watch an entire show of just him, just Johnny Pemberton. It was one of the most absurd things I've ever seen, watching him snipe with his Tootsies. Then we went back inside with Lucy, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the decision to have the Congresswoman not be a member of the Enclave. She was just a simple pawn, and I guess I thought her husband might have been a stock market guru, but I will say, in all seriousness, that craft I mentioned week after week in my reviews was on display once again in prime form as we bounced between Lucy's story and the Ghoul story before they intersected. It was incredible. They also comboed those with our final Vegas flashback. Well, a couple, but one that I want to focus on. The Howards are getting ready to leave the hotel, and down comes Stu and Jade. I mean, Alan and Cassie. I mean, Hank and Steph. She did it. She boned her way into the vaults, and I feel like she might have heard the Marines talking about Vegas and the crazy weddings they have there, and she just lucked out that Vault-Tec was in town. I don't know. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Getting back to New Vegas, the NCR joined the fight and saved Max. The sniper was a cool moment. Those helmets are so dope, and they were simply using their strong comedy to benefit the drama. That's exactly how it should be, in my opinion, and there's some damn good tension on both sides of the gates on the strip. Lucy's story meets the ghouls inside the underground vault. I call it a bunker, and this is where the best of the drama took place. He saves her from her dad, gives her the keys to his life, and that's when Hank decided to tell the truth before resetting his brain to factory default. Also, I loved being right where that Hank's job was done here. His agents were already sent out on their missions, and I think I'm gonna have to order some extra tinfoil for season 3. Then the ghoul found his family's cryopods too, but they're empty. I know in the flashbacks with his family throughout both, season 1 and season 2, Colorado is mentioned, but Hank could have known that through the Enclave, and I think there is a chance that he's sending his old hero on another wild goose chase. I'm not saying I hope they do that in season 3. I don't, if I'm being honest, but I definitely think it's a possibility. Anyways, down in the vault, Steph opens Hank's box and it's his Enclave wrist device. She calls in and tells them to activate Phase 2, which I can only assume involves activating the vault's experiments, unless there really are no vault experiments for that chain. But it feels like Norm is going to return home to a disaster, especially because he's getting the other newbie from Bud's Buds, Steph, being the second newbie back to the vault to save her life. I think they kind of have to do this. That's one story for season 3. Well, I guess 2 until he gets home, and with the other 2 spawning from Vegas, I'm split. I like that Max and Lucy are with the NCR, taking back the strip, reforming the wasteland in a way. I assume we're gonna see more with House there too, which imagine House and Thaddeus. Holy that would be amazing. But jokes aside, I am not a fan of Ghoul being on his own again, a man and his dog. I know, trust me, I love that motto, but I really wanted to see that trio together for a change. Finally, they left us with a credit scene that showed the Brotherhood of Steel recovering from the chaos that Max caused, and the big thing that recovered is Quintus. Max didn't have it in him to finish the man who saved him from Shady Sands, and now he's calling himself the Destroyer. Just add another person sending agents to wreak havoc on anybody trying to do it any other way in the Wasteland. Overall, I'd have to say my biggest complaint, and this isn't even from a I want to see the action standpoint, it's just as far as the story's concerned, the Legion needed to come back into play sooner. It was so forced here in the finale, but that's the big one. It was still a strong finale. I thought season 2 was good, but not as good as the first, and I think honestly, I think season 3 could be better than both. And so that's going to do it for my review of the Fallout Season 2 finale. I want to know what you guys thought about episode 208 and the entire season, so let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's video, smash that like button on your way out, and make sure you have a great day.